Hey there everybody, Mazrock here, and today we're going to be doing the fun tank tier list for 10.1. Talking about really how fun the tanks have been. We're going to be looking over Raid, Tier, Mythic Plus, all of those kind of fun things all around. Now, if to any of you that have been coming around my stream, you definitely know my opinion on tier list, but I think this one's alright. So now this one, number one, is fun tier list. So this is entirely subjective to me. Yours might be completely different, and that's okay. Let me know if you think a certain tank is less or more fun than what I think it is, right? Like, leave that down in the comment section down below. We can all have different opinions. We're allowed to. It's, you know, it's there's 9 billion people on the planet. Not everybody's going to agree with one another. Before we do get into it, though, please do like, comment, subscribe. It goes such a long way towards helping out the channel. This is an early access video as well for patrons who are going to have it for quite a few days. This one's not being planned for at least 6 days after recording. So we'll kind of see what happens there. But if you're looking for early access stuff, Patreon link down below. There's also early access tank club writings, guides, things like that, all of the written stuff. I put all of my work in progress up on Patreon as I kind of write it out and all that fun stuff. Then I have been writing a lot more lately. Discord link, wonderful community full of great people. Twitch link, come on by, watch me stream all tanks, and we got some fun little plans in the work as well. So we got new content coming. Not necessarily tank related, is all I'm going to say. And of course, there is some merch for sale as well. You can go by, check that out in the Teespring link down below. All right, so we're just going to do this in the order that they're kind of on the screen. We're going to throw all of them in F tier right off the bat. Just for clarity, y'all can see them. And then go from there. And then we'll just do them in order, because it doesn't really matter. Now, Blood DK, the new tier set is Vamp Blood focused, which has increased the healing dramatically of Blood DK, which is really, really nice. Has also increased the damage of Heartstrike. I'm not putting it in C tier. Has also increased the damage of Heartstrike and Blood Boil considerably, and they just got an 8% aura buff, which is really, really nice, and they needed that. But unfortunately, the Blood DK tier set doesn't really offer a lot in the change of how you play. It works really well with the kit. It's a lot of fun. It really kind of works well with one another, but aside from tracking Vamp Blood a little bit closer to watch your Umbilicus and Turnus procs and move things along the way there, really there's not, there's no big change where you're like, oh yeah. So I'm going to put Blood solidly in B tier. Part of that is also the affixes. So we are currently in Volcanic Sanguine Week, which Blood is really good at, by the way. So that's really, really nice. Where I'm actually, when I play this tank, I'm like, oh, I'm useful, because we just got out of Incorporeal and Afflicted, and while Incorporeal just got changed to work with Control Undead, that happened after the week is done. So we actually haven't had to play with that. So we just went with 2 weeks of, man, do I feel useless for utility, and that really hurts, right? But all in all, Blood is still incredibly fun. You want to just have insanely high HPS. You can now have respectable damage as a tank as well, especially really good damage in AoE with the Blood Boil increase and things like that. The tier set increases it by 20% and then 8% aura buff. But Blood for me has kind of been middling, right? It's been fun. It's been something I enjoy playing. When I log on and I'm like, oh man, I'm never like, oh man, I gotta play Blood today. No, that's not good. No, it's been good, man. Like, I've been enjoying it. It's fun, but it's not been the most fun spec for me. But yeah, so B tier Blood for now. Like I said, this is entirely related to fun, so not necessarily performance. Brewmaster! Alright, so Brewmaster is one, I just recently got the tier to this last week, or early this week, Tuesday, and I've been playing with it, and oh my god, man, this spec got incredibly more sturdy. That is one of the things I did not realize that was I knew it was going to increase my tankiness with the amount of dodge that we were going to get. I didn't realize it was going to be that much, which allowed me to kind of play with different builds, have a little bit better ramps where I'm not as worried about dying or taking heavy hits or have to plan around more Celestial Brews for all of the big worries. It's been really nice and allowed me to enjoy the spec in a way that I didn't think I would. Because I've always really enjoyed Brewmaster, but my favorite version of Brewmaster currently since I've started playing it is Keg of the Heavens. the tier set from Season 3 of Shadowlands, because Keg of the Heavens was so busted. It was fun. It was actually crazy. Even after the nerf, because it got nerfed hard, which it kind of had to be. But that version of Brewmaster to me was just dumb fuck fun. Like, it was crazy good. So I'm kind of having to put it against that. And if you're looking at tier set acquisition and tier set bonuses and all of that stuff along the way, you know, there were no tier sets in Shadowlands aside from Season 3, and the ones we got were all insanely good. The first one in Season 1 of Dragonflight was kind of boring, because that's how they were designing it. But this one here is really, really fun. I really enjoy this one, and it's allowed me to play the spec, so I'm going to put this in low A. This is where I'm going to put this for Brewmaster. Low A tier for me, for fun, which is really, really good. Because I was considering B, but I'm actually getting excited to get on and play Brewmaster, even though my trinkets suck because I can't get a trinket drop to save my life. But, you know, RNG, woo! That's the reason why I play these games. But yeah, so Brewmaster, I gotta say, absolute super fun to play. I don't want to, it's not in the strongest position in the world, but it's definitely not in the weakest. And if you put the time and effort into playing Brewmaster and playing it properly, you can definitely be rewarded a little bit more so than some other tanks, where you can just crazy bursts. I've already had bursts I've seen bursts for 450, 500k, and some of my pulls, you know, you get that right AoE, everything lines up right, and you've got your ramp going, and you just skyrocket, right? So that's been really, really nice, and I've been enjoying that a lot. Up next is Guardian Druid, the big bad bear. Okay. The new tier set for Druid is dope. Thrash damage increase, Mangle damage increase, Maul raise damage increase. Let's go. This is also getting a rework, but we haven't played with the rework yet on live, so we're not going to be taking that into account. I'm really liking the rework. But right now, this tank is a monster when it comes to pug healing. Number one, after the wildfire, absolutely crazy with for healing up avoidable damage that was taken by pugs. But I'm also running a Dream of Cenarius build, which gives you 1 free regrowth, castable in bear form every 20 seconds on a proc. But it has a minimum internal cooldown of 20 seconds that will also increase that regrowth by 200%. This is a lay on hands every 20 seconds. Let me be very clear about this. This is stupid amounts of priority healing. Like, Word of Glory doesn't always heal for this much. It can, but you kind of, you know, you need Hand of the Protector, you need them to be really low and get that up. This regrowth Dream of Cenarius is huge and has absolutely saved pug runs for me to a stupid nth of a degree. Like, I can't count on my 2 hands how many times this has saved pug runs. Someone takes a stupid amount of damage from standing in stupid, I have that regrowth ready, just bam, done. Throw it out, they're back to full health. We're going like nothing happened. And that to me is incredibly fun. The fact that also Bear could deal with Afflicted with no problems, you know, the problem is you're giving up some utility, which isn't fun, and I agree, but you could easily, I had a build, I had Remove Corruption for every Afflicted that was coming up, easy peasy, but also Dream of Cenarius could instant full heal the Afflicted, like literally instant full heal the Afflicted, but after the wildfire would also heal the Afflicted as well, apparently, which we kind of find out later in the week. So if you were tracking after the wildfire and Afflicted came out, I would just if I had the healer in comms, like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's about to, oh yeah, they're healed. Like, what happened? Like, we're good. Don't worry about it. And on top of that, Bear had Hibernate for Incorporeal, which one of the reasons why I actually really liked Hibernate. Now, Hibernate's a little bit dangerous to use in really heavy AoE because it is castable, right? You can cast it in bear form, but you're not dodging, parrying, none of that. So you really got to make sure that you're kind of in a safe spot, or that, you know, you have a defensive rolling or something, but it is spammable. So one of the things I've seen happen a lot in Incorporeal week was 2 Incorporeals would come up, 4 people, bless their hearts, would all CC the same one. And some of those CCs have 15 to 20 second cooldowns. Well, if I hibernated that one too, I could just literally, be like, okay, cool, I'll hibernate that one now. And not a problem. It solved so many problems. And Honestly, the bear kit, while the class tree is still, we'll leave it with something to be desired. The spec tree is well along its way, and I think the excitement that I have for the rework upcoming is also really big, and why I'm already like enjoying Brew. But the tier set is just a monster. The rotation is incredibly fun. This is definitely the highest A tier for me. I am having so much fun on Bear, and surprising people how sturdy I am on Bear, but also while pulling 200, 250k HPS on some pulls, and just feeling immortal. And honestly, I haven't had that feeling of immortal since, like, Shadowlands, right? 99 stacks of Necrotic, you've got your shield going, Incarn's up. Yeah! Now, we'll not talk about that feeling after Incarn runs out and you still have those 99 stacks of Necrotic and you need to run away like a little bitch. But that 30 seconds of feeling like a god, I feel that constantly with Bear, and it feels really, really good. Protection Paladin. Now, here where I have to admit, I have yet to acquire any tier from Protection Paladin aside from the 2k token, but I haven't turned it in yet for obvious reasons, because I want to wait to see which one I need to put it into. But here's the thing about Paladin tier. It's pretty boring. 20% increased damage from Avenger Shield by applying a dot called Heartfire, which the 4P, which will also heal you for that damage done. It's nice. Like, I don't get excited about this. It's nice, it's good, but it's nothing really to write home about, and the 4-piece just gives you more Avenger Shield procs. So really, the fun of Paladin, the meat of this spec, is in the kit itself, right? Double freedoms, you got cleanse, you got utility, stupid amounts of utility, sack, bop, spell warding, stupid amounts of healing, stupid amounts of good amounts of damage. And to me, it also helped that my Paladin got like uber trinket crazy fucking ridiculous luck on trinkets. Now, if you follow this channel for a while, you know that my Paladin in Season 1 of Dragonflight had the worst trinket luck of all time. Could not get a goddamn thing to drop ever. I got a whetstone in the last 3 days of the season. Before then, I had to rock a crafted trinket because I had never seen anything drop above item level 402, and that was a ruby whelp shell. That was literally the drop aside from one other trinket at a decent level. I could not get a trinket to drop. It would not drop to save my life. That all changed in Season 2 of Dragonflight. So I now have a Beacon of the Beyond. I have Elementium Pocket Anvil. I have defensive trinkets. I just keep getting them. And it's so fun. I'm loving it. But we're taking RNG into account here, right, when we're talking about this. So you can't really look at that. But my god, this kit is beefy. Not only is it beefy, it has an answer for everything. Which actually kind of bores me. It's nice having to be able to deal with everything, but Paladin seems like it excessively deals with it well, right? Oh, Entangling? Double freedom. Oh, I'll just freedom you and me and deal with the problem at the same time. Incorporeal? Oh, Repentance and Turn Evil. I can solo it if I need be. Afflicted? I can heal it. I can cleanse it. There's lacking that element of danger to me with Paladin, I guess. I don't know. But they deal with it incredibly well. But it also doesn't help me that they're Fodom, right? This is the meta spec right now. They're flavor of the month. We've seen everyone's playing Protection Paladin. You've seen it. It's Paladins everywhere, right? And when that happens, I lose interest. I've seen it it's kind of how it works. When I started tanking in Shadowlands Season 1, it was Blood DK and Prout Warrior. Trust me, those two were not the flavor of the month. In fact, they were very opposite. If you remember how bad they were, comment that down below. But yeah, they were not sought after. And I tend to kind of go for the underdogs. I tend to go for the tanks that are underrated, not played as much. Those are the ones that I have the most fun on, because those are the ones that I surprise people the most when I tank. Prot Warrior is very big for this. Prot Warrior in Season 1 of Dragonflight was obviously known as the king, but that quickly fell off with the Paladin rework in 10.0.7, sorry, with how quickly they shot up the ranks and became literally the dominant meta. To me, that when everyone else is playing something, I start having less fun with it. But if I want a sturdy tank, the rotation is incredibly fun with Paladin. It has been for a long time. I've been saying, I played a lot of Paladin in Season 1 as well. Like, I mean, I played all 6 tanks, but Paladin was one of the first 3 tanks that I had fully leveled, geared, and was just really having a blast with. And I think a lot of that got ruined to me by a lot of Fodden players. I think that kind of what it came. So I'm going to go with a B tier for Paladin. I know anybody playing Paladin right now, you're probably losing your hair, shitting bricks, everything, but that's just kind of how it is for me, right? Having an answer for everything all of the time isn't always fun. It removes some of the challenge, it removes some of the danger, and we play games to not, like, I don't play games to put in cheat codes, right? When you play a game, I don't pick up a game and be like, oh, what's the cheat code to have everything? And that's kind of what it feels like for Paladin, and that to me is not super fun. But it still is an incredibly fun spec that has a lot going for it. So, balance! Vengeance Demon Hunter. Alright, let me tell you this right now. This is fucking S tier. That tier set is bonkers! The fiery brand spreading, the damage, the rotation. It added a new level of depth to the spec that I haven't seen since I started really playing Vengeance, but I haven't been playing... Vengeance is probably the tank that I played the least in my WoW time, right? It was the last one I had leveled up in Shadowlands. It was actually pretty quickly leveled up in Dragonflight as well. It wasn't the last one in Dragonflight. It got up there a little bit quicker. But my god, this is fun. Like, the amount of damage this thing does is absolutely absurd, by the way. But the rotation is fun. The utility has always been really good, although very niche. When Vengeance utility is good, it is fucking amazing. But when it's kind of not, it's very lackluster. But Imprisoned, it easily dealt with Incorporeal. Being one of the only tanks with a Purge, if you aren't a Blood Elf, is really, really nice as well, because there are some nice purgeable things that you can just make your life easier by doing. Like I said, when the utility for Vengeance is useful, like Sigil of Silence, for example, oh my god, man. There's a certain great feeling that comes from throwing a Sigil of Silence down on like 9 things that are casting at the same time, and you're just like, oh. But the rotation is an absolute blast. I'm just S tier. This thing is a monster, and I'm having an absolute blast playing it. Like, man, the tier set just fucking breaks the spec. It changes it completely. It's night and day. I do have a Vengeance Demon Hunter tier list guide, and I talk about this more in depth, but man, dude, holy crap. Like, God, I'm having fun with this. Like, alright, lastly is Protection Warrior. Now, if you've followed this channel at all, you know that Protection Warrior has been my baby for a long time. I have played it in all eras of Shadowlands. I've played it in BFA a little bit. I didn't play a whole lot of tanks in BFA. Tanking is something that came to me back to Season 1 of Shadowlands, where there's a whole story there, but that's where I refound my love. But back when I was playing in Wrath, Cataclysm, everything like that, it was all Protection Warrior all the time. That's really where I found my love of tanking, was in Cataclysm when I started raiding, and this was my main, and man, this spec is still fun. The tier, they've made some changes to the tier set. So what it is when Last Stand ends, you gain a 20-second window where your Shield Slam deals AoE. And man, is it fun to play with. It is chunky. The banner playstyle of Season 3 and 4 is still relevant, is still there with how you're playing it, without Reprisal, of course. You still have full shield block on uptime. Like, nothing was lost with Prot Warrior losing its meta status in Season 1, right? Like, it didn't lose any power. It didn't get nerfed. It didn't get gunned down or buried. Just things got elevated. And with the new tier set, Shield Slam deals more damage, which is very, very nice. There's an AoE component to Shield Slam within certain windows, and this spec plays incredibly fast. It is the tank that has the highest action per minute. Now, I see a lot of people kind of confuse action per minute with button bloat. For example, Brewmaster has a lot of button bloat. They have a lot of buttons to press, but they do not have a high action per minute, right? Prot Warrior has a very high action per minute. Oftentimes, you are hitting 2 buttons at once. Hitting like a revenge, like a thunderclap and an ignore pain at the same time. Hitting a shield block and a revenge, a shield slam and a revenge, shield slam and an ignore pain. Sorry, you are constantly upkeeping those you know, your buffs that are off the global cooldown while hitting damaging abilities that are on the global cooldown. That is high APM. And that is how Banner played in Season 3 of Shadowlands. Now, we've talked about on stream how toxic Banner was. If you played it, it was, oh my god, it was so toxic. But that playstyle remained without actually having to worry about losing the Banner buff. You're still very fast, you're incredibly tanky, and you do not take a lot of damage. The amount of things that you can spell reflect in this Season 2, oh! Oh, so fun. There's a lot of big damage spell reflects. A lot of them. A lot of bosses that you can spell reflect. Really good stuff. Honestly, I'm having so much fun with Prot Warrior, but the problem is its utility kit isn't there. Incorporeal, you have a minute and a half thing that you can use with Intimidating Shout. If you are targeting the Incorporeal, you've got nothing for Afflicted. Entangling, take Intervene, come out, charge back in. Gives you that reprisal feeling, so it might give you PTSD if you played it at all in Shadowlands, because that's really what you're doing, right? You're intervening the farthest party member and you're charging right back in, which is what you did, which is like, it's the stuff that you did in Shadowlands. But all in all, the kit is still there, it's still incredibly fun, it's high action per minute, it's high octane, and when played right, you just don't take damage. Like, you just don't take damage. There's a couple of pulls that can be pretty nasty for Prot Warrior in Season 2, but again, that adds to that challenge that I think is really, really fun. But I also like utility. Like, if you kind of notice... well, I guess that doesn't really comply. I had an idea, but looking at the tier list, they don't equate. But really... Rally is super fun. Intervene is still really nice to play with. Intervene Spell Reflect on Assad on Vortex Pinnacle, by the way, like really good still. Like, you know, it's you can do a lot of things that other tanks can't do as Prot Warrior, and I always love surprising people with that. I love going into I love going into a dungeon and people being like, okay, Prot Warrior, I don't know what to expect, and then all of a sudden they're like, what the fuck is happening here? And it's just, yeah, I'm being a monster. Let's go, 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 go. Like, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. But that is it for my tier list here. This is kind of, again, purely subjective. All my opinion. But it's also my channel. I can do whatever the fuck I want. So, here we are. But thank you very much for watching until the end. What is your S tier spec for the season? Do you guys agree with this? Do you guys agree with my opinion? Do you disagree? You have every right to disagree. Keep it civil down in the comment section down below. But I would love to hear your opinions on fun, on everything like that. This isn't necessarily performance-based, although you have to take performance into account with when you're kind of doing these things. But really... this is primarily how fun have these been. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Have yourself a good one. Happy tanking. Bye.